Hi, I'm Marilyn, and this video is going to examine the question, could you be depressed and not even know it? So this video is not meant to diagnose anything or treat anything. It is just to simply bring self-awareness. Everyone has a different level of self-awareness, and usually the more intuitive you are, the more self-aware you are. If you're a man, I would suggest that you pay close attention to this video because usually men in societies are socialized to not express their feelings or emotions. And so sometimes men tend to lack self-awareness in this area. Why I wanted to do this video is because sometimes people assume that depression is when you can't get out of bed or you're having dark negative thoughts about yourself and about other people and just negative thinking in general. And while that's true, it's not exclusive to that. For example, I'm going to be talking a little bit about addiction. And when people develop an addiction, sometimes they are not aware that they could be experiencing depression. Sometimes when people have addictions, these addictions can mask depression. This video will examine 3 signs that you're depressed and do not know it. I will also answer the question why you should even care if you're depressed or not. Because some people may think like, oh, my life is going great, so why should I even bother asking that question? And so I'm going to answer that. And the last section will include 4 solutions in order to resolve this. The number 1 sign that you may be depressed and not even know it, as I brought up earlier, is addiction. So ask yourself the question, am I addicted to anything? Which could include food, overeating. It could be addiction to video games, addiction to alcohol, even an addiction to watching too much YouTube. It's basically any activity that you do excessively in order to avoid a certain feeling, and you also may not even be aware that you're doing it to avoid a certain feeling. Sometimes having an addiction can be tricky because usually the addiction, especially when it's at a lower level, can make you feel really good. So if you go about your life with an addiction and it makes you feel really good, then it can kind of make you think that, oh, I'm not depressed because I feel good. It doesn't make sense that you could be fulfilled inside, that you are connected to who you are on a deeper level and that you're fulfilled, and also be addicted to something. It just doesn't really make any sense. Even if you feel happy, I would still say that any form of overindulging is a sign of either depression or something that's not resolved, or just not taking the time out to kind of reflect on your life. You can ask yourself this question, do I overindulge in anything? When you answer this question, pay attention that you're not in denial about anything. For example, you could answer that question, I don't have a food addiction. I just ate 3 hot dogs and then after that, I didn't eat anything for 3 hours, so I know how to stop myself. Pay close attention into this kind of denial reasoning that you tell yourself. Number 2 sign is being too busy. So this could be related to addiction, but I wanted to create a separate category for this because I see this a lot. I see this as a major problem in our society where everyone's just way too busy. And I don't think people realize that no is a legitimate answer, that no can be an answer. And people who do value themselves on a deeper level do use this word and are not afraid to use it. This especially includes being too busy socially. I often see people that their weekend is packed, their weekdays are packed with all these activities and places to go and people to meet. But we also need to take time out for ourselves to examine our life. Because if we don't, then we could be missing out on opportunities that are beneficial to our overall growth. I actually even knew a person who worked full time and on top of that had a separate part-time job, and I believe that they didn't even need the money. And their reasoning was that I just like to be busy all the time and that's just the way I like my life to be. It seems like an innocent answer, but what I think is going on is that that person is trying to avoid some sort of feeling. Maybe they want to avoid connecting with themselves on a deeper level. Maybe there's something that went on in their lives or something that's going on now that is discomforting to them, and they're trying to numb that feeling by working so much. So pay attention if you have this issue. The third sign is naivety or lacking wisdom. The way to know if you lack wisdom is how is your decision making up until this point. Have you been proud of the decisions that you've made, or are a lot of them something that has backed you up into a corner or has kind of taken away opportunities from you? Ask yourself, do I make decisions that I am proud of? If the answer is no, stay tuned to the last section because I will offer a solution on how to increase our wisdom so that we make better judgments. Why does it matter to ask this question? Why does it even matter if you're depressed or not? If you're going about your life and you're happy and everything's great, or you think that it's great, why even fix what isn't broken? Well, it may look not broken on the surface, but deep down, maybe there is something that's broken, right? And imagine if you end up in, I don't know, some bad accident next week or something like that, and you end up on your deathbed or coming close to a serious injury that kind of makes you examine your life up until that point, and then you realize all these poor decisions that you've made, or maybe all this time you spent overindulging, and that time could have been used towards something that you really cared about, and you don't want to be wasting your life, right? Why would you want to do that? If you answered yes to any of the 3 signs, then here are some general solutions that I've come up with. Number 1 is take some time to self-reflect, and this could be in the form of journaling. It could be conventional therapy as well. There's all different kinds. Another solution could be talking to a friend about this issue on an ongoing basis, because sometimes talking about it, you can really gain insight from the other person about possible solutions or different directions you can head in. If you don't have friends to talk about this issue, like I said earlier, journaling is a really great technique. You can join clubs or volunteer groups in order to meet new people. Generally, to have a good friend, you need to be a good friend. Another solution is being accountable. So where in your life have you made decisions that maybe are not the best decisions, and to be accountable for those decisions? And accountability is not blaming, it's not blaming yourself, and it's not blaming another person. It's saying, you know what, I made this decision, I'm owning up to it, and I'm going to do something to make a change. Pay attention to denial when it comes to becoming accountable to the decisions that you've made. And this also leads to my next solution, which is forgiveness. And forgiveness is more of letting go of the energy. Forgiveness is more on an energetic level. So it's not necessarily calling up somebody that hurt you and saying, I forgive you. You don't need to do that unless you want to. And forgiveness also happens naturally through the realization that a person may have hurt you because they themselves lack the awareness, they themselves lack the wisdom to make a better decision. And when you come to a deep realization of this, usually forgiveness happens naturally. Forgiveness is not letting the person back into your life necessarily. Just because you've come to a point where you've forgiven someone doesn't mean that now you have to have them back in your life. If they haven't learned from their mistakes, it would probably be best to actually remove them from your life and have no contact. If your issue is being too naive or lacking wisdom, one solution to this is to listen to philosophers, listen to spiritual teachers, or whoever you admire. It could be athletes as well, who exhibit wisdom, and learn from them. Try to learn from people that you admire and you look up to. Learn from them about how they reach the level of success that you'd like to reach. It's best to surround yourself with people that are wiser than you. I hope that this video was insightful to you and that you at least took away one thing that can help your life. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.